reckon she will get the revenge, and she will get it done this time around. So I'm going to go with the other in 3 sets.
Eala earns it the hard way. From love 3 down first set. Lefty shape, stubborn defense, and smart claycraft to outplay the 31st.
Rome has a way of making things feel bigger than they already are. The cobblestones, the history, the weight of everything that has ever happened in this city, and somehow, on a clay court right in the middle of it all, Alex Eala just added her own chapter to the story. Because what happened today was not simply a tennis match. It was a reckoning. It was months of frustration and quiet determination finally finding an outlet, and the person standing on the other side of the net, Xinyu Wang, felt every single bit of it. Let me take you back for a second, because to truly understand what today meant, you have to understand where it started. That name has been following Eala like a shadow ever since. A 3-set loss that stung not just because of the result, but because of how it happened, because of how close she came, because of the feeling that she had the tools to win and somehow it slipped away. That kind of defeat does not just disappear when the tournament ends. It travels with you. It sits in the back of your mind during practice sessions and quiet hotel room nights and long flights to the next event. And the question that every athlete in that situation has to answer eventually is a simple one. What are you going to do about it? Today, in Rome, Alex Eala gave her answer. And it was loud. The match began, and honestly, if you had just turned on your screen in those opening minutes without any context, you would have assumed you were watching a completely different story unfold. Wang came out with the kind of energy that looked almost rehearsed, like she had a plan and she was executing it to perfection. She was breaking serve, controlling the tempo, and making Eala look reactive rather than proactive. 1 game gone, then 2, and before the crowd had even fully settled into their seats, Wang was sitting on a 3-0 lead in the first set. And there it was. The ghost of Auckland was back. The same player, a similar pattern, the same feeling creeping in around the edges that maybe Wang just had something over Eala that was difficult to explain and even harder to solve. You could feel the tension in the air. You could sense it from the commentators, from the body language in the stands, and if you are being completely honest, maybe even from Eala herself in those first few moments of trailing. But this is precisely where the story stops following the script that everyone feared and starts becoming something else entirely. Because Eala did not crumble. She did not tighten up or retreat into herself. Instead, something switched. It was subtle at first, the kind of shift you feel before you can actually see it. She started moving differently, with more urgency and more intention, like every single step she took had a destination attached to it. She began pulling out drop shots that were nothing short of brilliant, the kind that lands so perfectly short that your opponent barely has time to process the situation before the point is already over. And then she would follow those up with open court winners that seemed to come from nowhere, the ball kissing the line and leaving Wang flat-footed and scrambling. The crowd started to feel it. That low hum of excitement that builds in a stadium when something special is happening right in front of you. Game by game, Eala started climbing back. It was not easy and it was not clean, but it was relentless. And when that first set finally closed out at 6-4 in Eala's favor, the noise in Rome told you everything you needed to know about what had just happened. 3-0 down. 6-4 in the set. That is not a comeback. That is a complete rewiring of the match's psychology, and Eala was the one holding the tools. Here is something that does not get talked about enough in tennis. The mental weight of winning a set from that kind of deficit. When you are down 3-0 and you find a way to turn it around and close out the set, something happens inside you that is almost impossible to manufacture any other way. The belief that clicks into place in that moment is different from anything a coach can give you in a timeout or a pep talk can produce on the sideline. It is earned. It is real. And Eala walked into that second set carrying every bit of it. She came out firing. First gamers, second gamers. Just like that, she had flipped the dynamic entirely. Now it was Wang chasing, Wang adjusting, Wang trying to figure out the version of Eala that had just dismantled her in the back half of that opening set. But Wang is not someone who simply accepts defeat without a fight. She is a proven competitor, and she showed it by digging back in, grinding through the pressure, and working her way to a 3-2 lead in the second set. And just like that, the match turned tense all over again. Because now it felt like Wang was doing to Eala exactly what Eala had done to her. The momentum, which had felt so decisive and so firmly in one direction, suddenly felt fragile again. That 3-2 lead for Wang in the second set was the most dangerous moment of the entire match. Not just tactically, but psychologically. Because if Wang had been allowed to run with that lead, if the energy had continued to shift in her direction, this could have become a completely different conversation. A third set. A coin flip. Another Auckland. But Eala refused. From that moment of danger, she produced perhaps the most impressive stretch of tennis she had played all day. 4 games in a row. Dominant, clean, purposeful tennis that left no room for debate. She did not just inch ahead, she pulled away. She closed out the second set and the match with the kind of authority that makes you think she had been saving something, that the whole time she had one more gear she had not shown yet, and she reached for it right when it mattered most. Straight sets. Revenge completed. Eala is through. Now, why does this matter beyond the obvious? Because the conversation heading into this match was entirely about that Auckland defeat, about whether Eala could handle Wang this time, about whether the mental block was real or just a narrative that people had constructed. And Eala did not just answer that question. She demolished it. She walked out there, faced the exact scenario that had haunted her, fell behind in a way that mirrored the worst fears, and then found a completely different ending. That matters. That goes on the permanent record of who she is as a competitor. And it sets up what comes next in the most incredible way possible. Because waiting for her in the next round is Elena Ribbikina. World number 2. One of the most formidable players on the entire tour right now, and someone who has been playing the kind of tennis this season that makes even top players genuinely nervous before they walk onto the court. Think about the resume Ribbikina has put together just in the last few months. She won the Australian Open this year, and she did not just win it, she beat Aryna Sabalenka in the final. Sabalenka, who herself is one of the most powerful and relentless players on the planet. Then she went to the BNP Paribas Open and pushed all the way to the final. Then deep into the semifinals at Miami. Then clay season arrived and she won Stuttgart, beating Marta Kostuk in that final. Yes, she did fall in Madrid in the 4th round against Anastasia Potapova, but one result does not rewrite everything that came before it. She is sharp. She is dangerous. And she will arrive in Rome with something to prove after that Madrid exit. On paper, this looks like an enormous mountain for Eala to climb. But here is the part that makes this matchup genuinely fascinating rather than one-sided. Eala is not walking into it blind. She is not simply hoping her game holds up against a higher-ranked opponent. She has been building something specific, something deliberate, and the person helping her build it is about as credible a source as you can possibly find when it comes to winning on clay. Rafa Nadal. She has already spoken about working with his camp, about the guidance and the tactical preparation they have been bringing to her clay court game. And we are not talking about vague inspirational advice here. We are talking about the kind of specific, surface-focused knowledge that only comes from someone who spent 2 decades mastering every single dimension of how to win on red dirt. The movement patterns, the spin, the positioning, the mental discipline of clay court tennis where points are longer and mistakes are more expensive and patience is not just a virtue but an actual weapon. That influence is not abstract. You can see it in how Eala has evolved this clay season. The way she constructs points now feels different. The way she retrieves and resets and then pounces when the opening appears. There is a method to it that was not as visible before, and it is showing up in her results. And beyond the tactical, there is the historical record of what Eala is capable of when the stage gets big. Because this is not a player who has just had one good week and is riding a lucky draw. Last season, she broke through against Egatek when Egatek was ranked number 2 in the world. She has taken down Paolini. She has beaten Coco Gauff. She has defeated Madison Keys. There is a pattern here that goes beyond talent. It is temperament. Eala does not seem to register the size of the name across the net as a reason to play smaller. If anything, big moments appear to bring something out of her that everyday matches do not. She is 23 years old, operating with the mental composure of someone a decade more experienced, And she is doing it all on one of the grandest stages the sport has to offer. Rome is not a quiet tournament. The Italian Open carries weight. The fans are passionate and loud, and the history of the event runs deep. And here she is, not just surviving in this environment but thriving, making noise, completing revenge storylines, and earning her way into a round where she will face the second best player in the world. The redemption arc that started in Auckland is very much alive. And the next chapter gets written against Ribbikina. The question now is not whether Eala belongs on that court. Today settled that. The question is whether she can take everything she has shown this week, the comeback in the first set, the nerve in the second, the tactical discipline, the physical intensity, the belief that comes from earning a win the hard way, and channel it into something even greater. Can the Nadal-influenced clay game hold up against one of the tour's most complete servers and ball strikers? Can the psychological momentum of a revenge win fuel her through what would be the biggest match of her season? And if she does find a way to pull it off, what does that do to the rest of Rome and to the rest of the clay season entirely? We are going to find out. And honestly, after today, it feels like anything is possible.